Today we're going to focus on putting, and hopefully we can give you some simple drills to work on in the current lockdown to help keep our spirits up. Basically what we're going to talk about today is the relationship between the putter face and the grip, more importantly the left hand. Now there's many different things we can talk about with putting, and it's a hugely neglected part of the game. But what we're trying to discuss here is the importance between the grip and the putter face. Now what I mean by that is there's many different ways to grip the golf club, as you can see on TV, anywhere from Tommy Fleetwood, who does a bit of a pencil grip, to a Kuchar who does a bit of an arm lock. Now what they're all trying to do at the end of the day is they're trying to push the putter face to the target, and we do not want this left hand to break down, so we don't want to see any of this, no cupping of the left wrist. Now when I'm doing all these drills, I'm very aware of my grip pressure as well. I want to make sure my grip pressure is very light. I don't want to see any amateurs on the golf course putting with this sort of triangle look to their arms. Now going back to the grip, what we're basically talking about here is the putter itself has three flat sides. Okay, now I'm just going to grab this putter here because it's a bit more obvious. Now on the red grip here, you can see that we've got a flat side at the front and two on the sides. Now basically the sides of the putter is where we want our palms. Okay, now when we do this, we also want to feel as though we open our forearms up. Feel like we're holding a cup of water, trying to get the forearms pointing to the roof a bit more. Now when we do that, and we get our hands on the side of the grip, that allows the putter to swing and arc. Now every putter is slightly different, every person's slightly different when they putt. You get some tall people who might be a bit more what we call straight back, straight through because of the height deception they're looking at. And you might get someone who is smaller, who might, well, my sort of height, about the 5'9", 5'10", who's going to arc the putter. Now everyone's slightly different, but when I hit a putt, I'm looking for the back of my left wrist to basically push into the target. Now you can see my setup here. My right hand goes on first with my palm on the side of the grip. My left hand is going to basically put one finger on top of my fingers on the grip there and try and get my hands as close together as possible. I don't want to see two separate here because you don't want one hand taking over the other. Okay, now we've got to think about the putter face here, the putter itself. If we just let the putter swing, okay, now a lot of people have the fear of the next putt. They don't want a three putt, and if you're thinking that, you're already going to miss the first putt, so it's pointless really. So we've got to think about the current job in hand. Now when we get this putter behind the ball, I've got my eye line over the ball, I want to try and get everything nice and square, so I'll turn this way. So my shoulder line, my forearm alignment, everything as square as possible, like two rail tracks basically. My feet and my body is one, the putter and the ball is the other. So I want to be very parallel to the target. Get my eye line over the ball, try and get my shoulders nice and parallel, nice and square, and then try and push the putter through to the target. Okay, hit my wattle there, that's great. But you can see my finish there. This is the important bit I want people to realize. Now, when I hit this putt, my job, and my only job, is to do my job, is to stroke that putt, but also to stay still. I can be aware of the target. I can look at the target with my head. I don't want to see any of this. Don't want to see people lifting up. Now, when we basically are looking to hole a putt, let's say this is 6 foot, okay? What I'm thinking of now is do your job, right? My job is to get the grip, get my shoulder alignment, get comfortable. This is why I'm moving around a little bit, trying to relax, okay? Focus on the target, but most importantly, push the blade to the target, okay? And if I do that, I'm going to be very target aware, okay? So if you think of any other sport that we play, there's always a target aware. So if you're throwing a dart or you're throwing a javelin or kicking a football, you're aware of the target, and golf's no different. Too often golfers are thinking only of the ball and too much of the putter face itself. Now, there's many, like I say a lot of times, there's many different styles to putting, and I'm personally what we call an arcing putter, but I don't really think of that arc. I'm basically trying to take the putter back as square as possible, down these sort of black lines there, and then from there push it through to my target. But if you actually had that on camera, you would notice my putter is moving a little bit like this. Now, when you see a lot of people on the putting green practicing the putting, they're basically trying to keep everything as square as possible. They've got their arms locked, they've got the putter locked, they're trying to keep it all under control. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to let the putter swing. let it swing. Don't worry about it. Now, if we think about rolling a ball, you pick the ball up, you take it back, you roll the ball, okay? Simple as that, we don't even think about it. With putter, for some reason, we start to overthink things. Add in some feel, relax everything, get your arms as relaxed as possible. So my grip pressure is about a 1 out of 10 when I grip the putter, maybe a 2. But when I get over this ball, I've done my practice swings. This is my practice swing. Back and through. I'm not purposely trying to stop the putter, but you can see my left wrist is not breaking down at any point. Okay? So now my palms are pushing to the target the whole time. Okay? Now, simple little drills. You can grab a pen when you're at home, stick it under a strap or a watch. You know, everyone's probably seen this drill before. And basically put it in the back of your wrist, so if you break your wrist, you'll feel like the wrist is hitting the back of this bit of plastic. So we put that down. If I flick my wrist, you can see it's sort of digging in, and I can feel that response. But if we actually just analyse that, when I've hit that ball's gone flying to the left-hand side of the room. What's happened there? The putter's also speeding up. My wrists are breaking like this. The putter head is speeding up. My distance control is going to be very poor. So, just a little thing on distance control. Let's say this is 5 feet, okay? 5 feet, target. Let me go 10, a little bit longer, target. We'll go 30 maybe, target. You can see my follow through is not a sawn off follow through, nearly a little bit like a cricketer in a way, where we're nearly stopping it, but I'm not purposely trying to do that. The main thing is the length of backswing, long and slow, okay? And get that feeling of sort of relaxing through the putt. We don't want too long, because you get a lot of putters who go far too long and then decelerate, so obviously the distance control is poor. And you get a lot of people who take the putter back the same length, whether it's 6 foot or whether it's 50 foot, okay? And they try and force it to the target. So again, your distance control is going to be really, really erratic, okay? So what we're going to try and do when we go to the green and practice before we actually play the round is mix it up. Don't just stand there with your 5 footer trying to hold this perfect 5 footer, because the chances are on the first hole you're probably going to have a 30-foot putt. Okay, so mix it up when you go to the putting green as well. And also, there's not a lot of people I see on the putting green before they play. I want to see more people actually invest more times, because if you actually analyse your golf game, how many putts do you have to how many shots do you hit? So everyone will go to the driving range and smash drivers and hit irons, but how many putts do you hit compared to that? You know, you want to be hopefully around about the 25 putts around. You'd be a great putter if you can do that. If you're around about the 30s, 35 is not great. 40 putts around, that's pretty poor. So you're going to have to come and see your local coach for that to try and get some ideas. Now, going back to the sort of the left-hand grip, okay? Now, if you're in front of the TV tonight, you know, you can see my bottle of brown ale there, and also we do have non-alcoholic beverages for people that don't drink. When I'm putting, I want to try and add some feel. So you're nearly, you know, just completely aware of the weight of the head of the putter. And if we do that, if we actually relax, you're starting to get a bit of feedback from the putter itself. A lot of people haven't got a clue if they've hit the middle or the toe. Now, this is the most important thing. So when we do everything I've asked you to do, push the putter to the target, all that. Now, if you find your ball is missing to the right, okay, or your ball is missing to the left, and you feel as though you're doing everything correct, then the issue is in the backswing. Okay, so it could be too far away, but mainly the putter could be going back very closed on the way back, so it could be going back a little bit shut on the inside, or you could be taking it too wide with lots of loft, or a lot of the time people are actually rolling the face so open that it's very hard to square. So when the putter comes back to square, you can see that it's open, it's open, it's open, it's open, and stay open throughout the impact, and then you have to flick. Okay, again, you're going to be massively inconsistent, so there could be an issue in the backswing. But if you can basically try and feel as though you're holding your frame, push the putter to the target, be aware of the target, don't keep your head down too long, and hopefully you can start holding a few more putts. We've had a question about how much time you put into practice before you play. If you look at the top players, what they'll do is they'll do a bit of a session. So they'll basically go to the range, hit some wedges. Everyone's got a different routine. Hit some irons and work through the driver, and then they maybe finish with some putting. Or some people like Tiger might even put first and then they go to the range after that. It's up to you, but if I was you, I would do about 20 minutes. Don't overload it too much, but make sure you're nice and loose. That's the most important thing when you go to the first tee, getting that first tee shot away. But just have an ideal idea of the speed of the greens is an important thing. One little thing I do before I play is I'm quite an aggressive putter, so I'll make sure I actually try and fire 2 or 3 putts into the back of the hole really firm, and just try to make sure that my putter is accelerating to the target, not trying to be too timid when I get to the first putt on the golf course. The most important thing is you try and hold the putt that you've got, okay, and not thinking about, am I going to miss the next one? Right, put a question about speed of putts. Obviously when you get on the golf course, every putt's going to be different, there's different slopes. Imagination is part of this, and feel, okay? So your grip pressure, really light on the grip pressure, and try and just imagine you actually roll the ball with your hands. Yes, it's a piece of metal in your hands, but you don't have to hit at the ball, okay? We want to feel as though we're stroking the putt. Now, again, be aware of your target. When I'm doing my, let's grab this putt here, and I go to the target, I'm thinking about, you know, the speed. The chance of holing a 30-foot putt is really slim, so it's really low in percentage, so don't get wrapped up in holing 20, 30, 40 footers. We're trying to get in that dustbin bin lid area, but the main thing here when I'm actually going to go for my 20, 30 footer is to try and visualize what am I trying to do. Okay, so I factor in everything personally, from the slope to the uphill and the downhill, the left to right, right to left, and I'm trying to visualize the ball running to the hole. So while I'm doing this, I'm standing to the side, I'm also trying to feel the putt ahead, and then when I get to the ball, I'm basically trying to do exactly that when I actually hit the putt. I'm not looking to change. You see a lot of people doing practice swings which are very long, okay, or no practice swing at all. Waste of time. You've got to prepare better for the actual job in hand, okay? So when you get to that ball, try and replicate your practice stroke basically is the best advice I give. Thank you for watching our first tutorial. We'll be back next week with some chipping. Please keep your questions coming in, and thank you for watching.